All right, let's dive into digital art today.
Sounds good.
You sent me some really fascinating stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like everything, like all the basics, techniques, even project ideas, so much cool stuff.
It's a big world.
Yeah. So we're going to try and give everyone listening a crash course.
Awesome.
Hopefully make them realize how cool digital art is.
Yeah, more than people think.
I always like to start these off by asking,
Yeah.
when did you realize you liked digital art?
Oh, that's interesting. My first experience was actually way back in the day,
Oh, really?
like with one of those really old paint programs, like on the computer.
Yeah, yeah.
And tablets weren't really around, so it was all with a mouse. Oh,
Yeah.
it was, you wouldn't believe how clunky it was. But even with that, I was hooked. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It really just showed me the possibilities.
Yeah.
Even for someone who, wasn't super artistic or anything, I thought it was amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about the material you sent?
What's that?
It defines digital art in such a simple way. Creating art using digital tools.
That's it.
It's perfect.
Straightforward.
So straightforward. It's like
Right.
taking traditional art supplies
Yeah.
and just making them digital.
Yeah, it's giving it that digital twist.
Exactly. So now we've got to talk about the software.
Okay.
All the popular
Oh,
ones.
that's the big ones.
The big ones.
Yeah.
Like Photoshop, Procreate, Illustrator.
Right. Each of these are kind of good for different things.
Yeah.
So like Photoshop is amazing. If you're a photographer, you want to retouch photos, you want to make digital paintings. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's kind of industry standard for a reason.
Yeah.
If you're more of like an iPad user, you want to do some sketches on the go or make some illustrations. Procreate is your go-to.
Oh, yeah.
It's very user-friendly.
Yeah.
And then you have Illustrator,
Yeah.
which is like the vector king. You want to make a logo that looks great no matter how big or small, Illustrator is your guy.
It's so cool how each one has its niche.
Right, exactly.
So, now that we've kind of got the software down, we got to talk about the hardware, like
Okay.
what you need to get started.
Yeah.
And the material you sent mentions a drawing tablet and a stylus.
Of course, yeah.
And I feel like those are essentials. Like I can't imagine
Yeah, absolutely.
doing digital art without them.
You can, it's just a lot harder. It's like,
Yeah.
they're game changers, for sure. The mouse can't really give you that same kind of precision and control
Right.
as a stylus. It's night and day, like
Well,
writing with a crayon versus like a fine liner or something. And, the material has this great tip I loved. Set up a dedicated workspace.
oh, that's so important.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy, even just a corner of your desk. But it's that mental space
Yeah.
that tells your brain it's time to get creative.
I love that. Okay, so you've got your space, you've got your tools, you're ready to go. Where do you even begin? Well, lucky for you,
Right?
the material has so many ideas.
Oh, nice.
For episodes, for projects, all kinds of things. And it all starts with mastering those fundamental techniques.
Ah.
Line work, shading, color theory,
Yes,
and the magic of layers.
that's the big one.
Like think of it as the alphabet of digital art,
Okay. Right.
Line work, that's the skeleton, gives it structure.
Yeah.
Shading adds dimension, makes things pop off the screen.
Right.
Then color theory, that's all about understanding how those colors work together. But the one that really blew my mind was layers.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first time I understood layers, it was like a light bulb moment.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like having all these transparent sheets that you can draw on, erase, move around, and none of them affect the others. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a landscape, you could have one layer for the sky, one for the mountains, one for trees. You want to change the color of the sky, no problem. It doesn't mess up anything else.
The control is amazing.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
So now that you have these core techniques down,
Okay.
the fun part begins.
Yes.
Exploring all the different styles.
Oh, yeah.
The material highlights some.
Mm.
Realism, anime, pixel art, even 3D art.
It's crazy how much variety there is. It's insane.
You could make a portrait that looks like a photograph.
Mm.
Or you could make a retro pixel art character for a game.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
And digital art lets you jump between all of them.
Yeah.
To really help you master these styles, the material suggests diving deep into the tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exploring all the different brushes, blending techniques, effects. It even mentions practical exercises, which I think is really important.
Oh, for sure. It's one thing to know how to blend in theory, but to actually try it, experiment with the settings, see how the colors interact, that's where you actually learn.
Right, and that's how you develop your own style.
Exactly.
So now that we've covered all of that,
Right.
we have to talk about putting it all together.
The final piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the material mentions project walkthroughs.
Oh, cool.
And it talks about the excitement of creating something step by step. They have
Love.
guidance.
It's like having a personal tutor right there with you.
Right.
And speaking of guidance,
I loved that it also highlighted the importance of guest artists. You know, having experienced people share their tips and workflows, it's like a behind-the-scenes look.
yeah, that would be so cool.
It's amazing.
And finally, to make sure no one has any questions left unanswered,
Of course.
the material mentions Q&A sessions,
Yeah.
and that's where you can get personalized advice.
Exactly.
Wow, that was a journey
It was a lot.
through the world of digital art.
Mhm.
And we only just scratched the surface.
That's true. There's so much more to explore.
But hopefully everyone listening feels inspired
Yeah, I hope so too.
to pick up their stylus and start creating.
Yeah.
Digital art's all about having fun and experimenting.
Exactly.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
That's how you learn.
And just explore and
Uh-huh.
play around with the tools.
Right.
You'll be amazed by what you can do.
Exactly.
That's so true.
Digital art is for everyone,
I love that.
and it's only getting bigger.
I can't wait to see what people create.
Me neither. It's an exciting time for art.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure, as always.
That was a good one. And to all our listeners, until next time.
Keep creating!